Dear soul, take a deep breath and open your heart, for the angels are speaking gently to you about what happened last night. Something sacred unfolded in silence, something that touched the very core of your soulmate's family, leaving them shaken, restless, and even in panic. The angels want you to know the truth, so that you do not carry guilt or blame for what was never your fault. What happened was not chaos brought by you. It was truth rising to the surface, and truth, once awakened, cannot be ignored. The angels show that your soulmate has been living in a state of emotional withdrawal for a long time. They carried their heart as though it were locked away in a room where no one could enter. On the outside, it may have seemed like they were detached, indifferent, or even healed from what they once felt for you. But the angels remind you that detachment is often only a mask, a defense the heart builds when it feels too much. And last night, something pierced through that mask. A memory, a word spoken in conversation, or even a moment of stillness became a crack through which the truth spilled out. That truth was simple, yet profound. Your soulmate still loves you, no matter how much they tried to bury it, no matter how hard the family tried to control the story. The bond you share has never been broken. And when this truth surfaced, their family felt it like a shockwave. They feared what they could no longer deny, that your presence is still alive within their loved one's heart, that your name still lingers in their thoughts, and that no amount of distance or silence could erase what has been written in spirit. Last night, dear soul, your person was at war with themselves. Inside, their heart pulled one way while fear, guilt, and pressure from others pulled them in another. They were caught between duty and desire, between silence and confession, between staying numb and allowing their heart to finally speak. It was not an easy war. It was painful, heavy, and raw. Their family, sensing this inner storm, may have asked questions. Someone close to them may have looked into their eyes and asked, "Are you thinking of them again?" And in that moment, without words, the truth was revealed. Their silence spoke louder than denial. Their eyes gave away what their lips could not hide, and that was enough to send their family into panic, not because they hate you, but because they realized the love they tried to bury is still alive. It scared them, because it showed that their control over the situation is slipping. They tried to write the story one way, but destiny had other plans, and that realization left them feeling helpless. The angels want you to understand this clearly. It was never about you doing something wrong. You did not bring harm. You did not plant chaos. What you planted was truth, and truth often feels like thunder to those who have lived too long in denial. Last night was not a punishment. It was an awakening, a revelation that no wall is strong enough to silence real love. You may have felt it too. Maybe you were restless, unable to sleep, or heavy-hearted without knowing why. That was your soul receiving the ripple of their awakening. For you and your soulmate are connected by more than distance or words. You are joined in spirit, and when one of you feels a breaking point, the other feels it too. Last night was such a moment. It was the breaking of silence between your souls, a silent cry of truth that echoed beyond walls and fears. The panic in their family's home is not the end. It is the beginning. It is the sign that illusions are crumbling and that the bond they worked so hard to suppress has risen again. The angels say this is not destruction. It is divine correction. The chaos you sense is not punishment. It is preparation. What fell apart last night were the masks, the stories, the illusions. What rose in their place was truth, even if fragile and uncertain for now. Your soulmate is struggling deeply. For so long, They have carried a quiet suffering, hiding behind smiles and routines while drowning inside. Their nights have been filled with memories of you, dreams that replay what could have been, and haunting thoughts of choices not taken. They tried to numb it, but the weight only grew heavier. Last night, that weight reached its peak. Something gave way. Maybe it was tears they couldn't hide, a sudden burst of anger, or simply the way their silence revealed everything they had tried to bury. Whatever it was, their family saw it, and they could no longer pretend that your person has moved on. The truth shook them. It terrified them, because it meant the story they told themselves is no longer believable. They cannot deny that your love still lives in their home, even if unspoken, and because they do not know how to handle that truth, they panic. But remember, dear soul, their panic is not your burden. It is only a sign that your connection is too powerful to erase, too sacred to ignore. The angels want you to see this through a higher lens. What happened last night was not chaos. It was destiny unfolding. The wheel of divine timing turned, and with it came a wave that swept away illusions. For so long, their family tried to hold that wheel in place, to control what they believed was best. But no one can hold back destiny forever. When the wheel turns, it does so with purpose, to move what cannot stay stuck, to awaken what cannot remain silent. Last night, that wheel turned in your favor. The past, the present, and the future collided in a moment of truth. Your soulmate's heart could no longer lie, and their family could no longer deny. This is sacred discomfort. Dear one, it hurts, it confuses, it unsettles, but it is the path of healing. Nothing can grow in soil built on lies. But when truth breaks through, real healing begins. You are not the villain in their story. You are the reminder, the mirror, the divine disruption that awakens what is real. You represent love that cannot be silenced by fear or erased by rules. This is why last night was so powerful. It marked a turning point, the beginning of a shift that will continue to unfold. Even if your soulmate remains silent now, even if their family resists, the truth has already been set free. And once awakened, it cannot be put back to sleep. Dear child, hold your heart tenderly. Do not take on guilt or shame. Do not fear the panic that has stirred. Instead, see it as a sign that destiny has begun to reveal itself. You have been patient, carrying your love with grace even while misunderstood. And now, heaven itself has stepped in to move what human hands could not. The angels wrap you in their wings and whisper, "This is not an ending. This is a beginning." The tears shed last night were not the conclusion of your story, but the soul's cry for healing, the first crack in the silence that has held you apart. Let this bring you peace. Let this strengthen your faith. Your connection was never ordinary. It was always divine. And now, that divine plan is starting to show itself in undeniable ways. Yes, challenges may remain. Yes, their family may resist. But know this, truth is stronger than denial. Love is stronger than fear. And destiny is stronger than control. What has been awakened will continue to grow, no matter how much resistance it meets. So breathe deeply, dear one. Rest in the knowledge that you are seen, protected, and guided. Do not let fear cloud your heart. Hold steady, for you are walking through a doorway where illusion falls and truth rises. The angels are already preparing the path. They are softening hearts, breaking chains, and guiding steps. You are not alone in this. You are never alone. What happened last night was not an accident. It was a divine awakening. And though it came with panic, confusion, and tears. It also came with healing, truth, and the first glimpse of freedom. This is only the beginning. Trust the process, trust the timing, and most of all, trust the love that even distance and silence cannot erase. The angels are once again gathering around you with gentle wings and loving eyes, because they want you to understand how much has shifted in your soulmate's heart. What happened recently in their family was not just a small event or an ordinary moment. It was something sacred, something powerful, something that shook the silence that had been controlling them for so long. For years, your soulmate has lived in between two worlds, one where they followed the expectations of their family, staying quiet, obedient, and distant from their true self, and another world inside their heart where your love, your presence, and your memory still lived like a hidden flame. That flame, though hidden, never died. It only waited for the right moment to rise again. Last night, that moment arrived. The angels describe it as a fire being lit inside your person's heart, a fire that had been sleeping but suddenly woke up with force. It was not something planned or calculated. It happened naturally, perhaps after a conversation, a dream, or a sudden realization. It was as if something inside them could no longer stay silent. The Page of Wands energy reflects this restless and daring spirit, someone who is ready to step into the unknown, guided not by logic or approval, but by the inner calling of their soul. And that is exactly what your soulmate felt. It was like a spark set the air ablaze within them, and everything began to shift. This awakening did not go unnoticed. Their family, who had grown used to a quiet version of your soulmate, was caught off guard. They were used to them following the rules, keeping emotions locked away, and never speaking too loudly about what they truly felt. But last night, something changed in their eyes. Their silence turned into intention, and their hesitation turned into action. Perhaps they even spoke your name in a room where it was forbidden. Perhaps they admitted that they still loved you. Or maybe it was not words but actions. The way they refused to follow the usual routine, the way they stood up to someone, or the way they carried themselves with new restlessness that revealed the truth. Their family panicked, not because of you directly, but because they sensed the shift. They realized that the person they thought they had control over was no longer willing to stay silent. This scared them because it meant facing truths they had tried to bury. It meant acknowledging that your connection is real, that it cannot be erased, and that destiny cannot be silenced forever. Dear one, the angels want you to know that this shift was not just about missing you. It was much deeper. It was about your soulmate finally realizing that they could no longer live only for others. They could no longer sacrifice their soul for the sake of false peace. Their spirit was hungry for something more, for truth, for love, for freedom. Your love, your absence, and your energy have all stayed with them like an unfinished song that keeps playing in their soul. Last night, that song rose again, and they could not ignore it. The angels call what happened a spiritual rebellion. It was not chaos, though it may have looked messy from the outside. It was the moment a soul that had been sleeping for too long finally woke up. And of course, those who benefited from their silence reacted with fear. Their family was frightened not of you, but of the power you hold, the power to remind your soulmate of who they truly are, the power to awaken them, the power to bring them back to life. But you did not force this awakening. You did not demand it. You simply loved, and your love created a sacred space in their soul that could never be forgotten. That is why even in your absence, even in silence, your presence continues to echo within them. And now, The angels ask you to remain steady. You may not hear from your person immediately. They may still be figuring out how to walk this path, how to face the fire within, and how to handle the resistance from their family. But you must trust that the shift has already happened. The spark has been lit, and once a soul has awakened, it cannot go back to sleep. Their family will likely try to suppress this fire again. They may speak against you, remind your soulmate of old wounds, or call this change confusion. But your person now knows the difference between comfort and aliveness. They know what makes their soul feel alive, and that truth cannot be unlearned. The angels remind you not to see their family's panic as a bad sign. Instead, see it as confirmation. Their fear only proves how deeply your soulmate still loves you. They know that even a single step closer to you would change everything, and that terrifies them. The angels celebrate this shift because the awakening of the soul is never quiet. It shakes foundations, it roars, and it disrupts illusions. And in doing so, it brings a person back to their true path. That is what is happening now. You are not the cause of chaos. You are the light guiding your person home. Though they may still be gathering courage, the journey has already begun. The angels are guiding them, protecting them, and ensuring that love rooted in truth will always find its way back. Dear one, the angels know that you may be feeling many emotions right now: confusion, restlessness, even sadness without knowing why. That is because you are connected at the soul level. You felt the ripple of last night's confrontation. You sensed the storm. But what you may not have realized is that in that storm, your person chose you. Even if you could not hear the words, their energy spoke for them. They may have said, "I'm not over them." They may have refused to accept a decision made on their behalf, or they may have stood up against the attempt to erase you from their life. Whatever form it took, it was not small. It was the first step toward reclaiming their truth. The angels want you to understand that this moment was sacred. It was a soul-level shift. Your soulmate is no longer willing to hide. They are no longer willing to pretend. Their love for you has survived everything, and now it is rising again. Their family knows this, and that is why they reacted with fear. But you must remember, fear cannot undo truth. The flame that was lit cannot be extinguished. It may flicker at times under pressure, but it will never disappear. It will guide them back to themselves and back to you. This journey will not be easy. There will still be resistance, guilt, and emotional scars to heal. But the most important step has already been taken. They are beginning to stand for themselves and for you. They may not yet know how to walk this path fully, but they are learning. And every step forward, no matter how small, is sacred. The angels ask you to stay strong, to trust what you cannot yet see. You do not need to chase, to rush, or to prove anything. The truth is already alive and working behind the scenes. You are not the villain in this story, no matter how others may try to twist it. You are the light that revealed cracks in a false foundation. And instead of running from that light, your soulmate is now turning toward it. This is why their family trembles, because they realize that what they tried to erase has not only survived, but is rising stronger than before. And though they may resist, they cannot stop it. The angels want you to know that the love you share is not ordinary. It is powerful, it is transformative, and it demands truth. That is why it creates waves. That is why it causes resistance. And that is also why it will endure. So, dear one, let your heart rest. Do not be afraid of the panic or resistance you sense around this connection. It is not a sign of loss. It is a sign that truth is finally being spoken. It is a sign that your soulmate has begun to protect their heart again. And at the center of that heart, there is you. The angels close this message with reassurance. You are not forgotten. You are not left behind. You are the reason your soulmate is awakening. You are the spark that keeps their soul alive. And though the path may still take time, though challenges may still come, the journey has already begun. Trust this, dear child. Trust the fire. Trust the love. Trust that no matter how long it takes, truth will always find its way back.